Welcome back to Homestead and the Pennzoil Freedom 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Of course, the big story today, Jeff Gordon could clinch his 4th Winston Cup title. He's currently running 6th. Ricky Rudd, number 2 in the points, is 18th. Gordon needs to beat Rudd by 10 to 15 finishing positions to clinch the title. They're having a good run this week, but that wasn't the case last week at Rockingham. Some people thought maybe they were just protecting points, but that was not the case at all.
Not at all, no, and if anything, it was probably the opposite. We were probably trying too many new things because we're going out trying to win races. We're not going out there trying to conserve points. You just can't do that anymore. If you do that, you're going to fall even further behind than what we did last week. So, really, we were going for it, and we just made some mistakes on the setup. We were good in happy hour, and it just didn't seem to work for us in the long runs.
Now keep this in mind. Today, Jeff Gordon is very good on the long runs, but not so good on restarts on new tires, so they added 1 round of wedge last time he was on pit road. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Bill Pulsiter, Bill Elliott, is trying to break a 226 race winless streak. The last time he went to victory lane was at Darlington. The Pulsiter, though, is currently 4th on this restart. He and Tony Stewart, the 2 cars that took on 4 tires in that lead pack. He is still battling a tight condition. Mike Fortescucci made a track bar adjustment, went up 1 round to Dave Burns.
Matt, when Jimmy Johnson came in for an extra pit stop this time, they took this off the car. This is the side skirt that goes on the left side of Jimmy's car between the wheels. It helps with the airflow on the car, and I talked to Ken Howes, the crew chief, to say, well, what will the car be like now? And he said, it's such a minor change, it'll be very small. I said, well, what will it do, loose or tight? He said, well, that would be telling. He said, I can't do that. He says it's there for a reason, but it's not a very big reason. Marty?
Well, Dave, remember we said it sounded like a battery problem for Matt Kenseth? Well, that turns out it was right. It was a bad connector on the alternator, which made the battery go bad. 6 pit stops later, they fixed the connector. A new battery is in. He's back on the racetrack on 8 cylinders now, and green flag.
Kenseth is the last car on the lead lap in 28th spot. Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton along with Mike Wallace. The 3 cars who only got 2 tires on their pit stop. Everybody else around them got 4.
Didn't take Tony Stewart long to go by Ward Burton. Just goes right by him. And Kenny Walsh, did he get in the back of him?
I don't think he got back on him, but he may have, Benny. Definitely wiggled there.
Whatever the problem was for Matt Kenseth, they've not necessarily cured it because he's throwing some smoke. We watched Tony Stewart try and deal with Joe Nemechek. First car a lap down. There's Matt.
And we see the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is back on the lead lap. Remember, he had that unscheduled pit stop. Well, he stayed back out until all the other leaders had made their pit stop, which put him back on the lead lap. He's currently in the 26th position.
For smoking.
Matt Kenseth is getting the black flag for smoke. See it from behind his car there.
You probably burned a hard.
So he'll be coming to pit road.
Get the oil rinse ready.
Or should be coming to pit road shortly.
And Jerry Nadeau, the 25 car, slow on the apron of the Speedway.
He had lost a lap on pit road earlier, getting some extensive repairs made.
Is the right rear tire flat on this car?
I'm trying to get a good look at it, BP, but I couldn't see it.
Mike Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Casey Atwood, Ward Burton. The 11 car of Brett Bodine, the only one in this picture not on the lead lap.
And how did Mike Wallace get up there? He was 7th on the restart.
2 tires, and
But he was 7th on the restart. He's already up to 4th spot with 2 tires.
He's hungry.
He is very hungry.
Talked with Roger Penske and Walt Zarnecki this morning, just after the drivers' meeting. Said, so what's going on with the 12 car? Their answer was, when the season's over, we'll discuss it. Not until then. Same thing we're doing with our Champ Car program. When that season was over, then we'll discuss it. So, sorry, Mike, no answers.
Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, goes by Wallace. Moves into the 4th spot. And Mike Wallace loses another spot to the 22 of Ward Burton.
Tony Stewart, 4 tires, catching Sterling Marlin, who only got 2 on his pit stop. Now, Wally, I didn't think the 2 tires was a bad gamble. BP, they'd only run 20 laps on the tires. They didn't need a full load of fuel. If we get that long green flag run, they're going to need all 4 tires anyway, or they'll have time. So even though he lost the lead, I don't think it was a bad gamble.
I think they'll learn to.
He's trying to figure out his line.
Tony Glover's telling Sterling Marlin, look, do something, figure out how Tony Stewart gets around this speedway so fast.
Come on, Glove. Tony's trying to drive, or Sterling's trying to drive it in Tony's tracks, but he can't.
So Tony Stewart leading for the 2nd time in this race. And as you said earlier, Benny, still the man.
He is the man at this speedway, no doubt about it.
Those two have moved out by 2.5 seconds on Bill Elliott, who's 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Ward Burton is now 5th. How about Matt Kenseth, Marty?
Well, the problems just get worse for these guys, Alan. The best way to put it is they accidentally burned a hole in an oil line when they were fixing the alternator problem. So the pinhole was repaired, or band-aided, if you will, and they're now trying to clean up all the mess here on pit road where there was a ton of oil when Matt came in. They think they have finally cured all the problems for Matt Kenseth, although he's lost a lot of laps and time on the track.
What happens, and I'm sure that if you've worked on your car before, anytime that you touch a hot wire on the alternator and you ground that to another piece of metal, well, then you get a spark, and that's what they did. They ground the wrench against an oil line and punctured a hole in it.
Matt is 2 laps down, back in 40th place.
Those oil lines still braided on these cars?
Some of them are.
So that could have done it as well.
6th place, Casey Atwood around Mike Wallace. And we look ahead from Kevin Harvick. Next one to try and challenge Wallace for a spot.
Mike Wallace started back in the 29th position, so in his situation, I think that 2 tires was the way to go to try to get some track position. But I'm of the feeling that Sterling Marlin, Ward Burton will live to regret the 2-tire stop.
I agree with the BP. You know, a place like this where it goes green for so long, I always think you should take 4.
Let's check up on Mike Wallace more from pit road. Here's Marty.
Well, guys, if you are the superstitious lot, this is the same car that Mike ran at Phoenix. And, of course, at the end of the race at Phoenix, he took on 2 tires and nearly won the race, finished 2nd there. But I just asked Peter Spenzo's crew chief, I said, where do you expect him to fall back to? He said, I would be happy with 10th or 11th. We don't expect to stay up here in the top 5. They're running 7th right now. If we can go to about 11th, it will have been worth the gamble for us. And that's where we expect him to be in about 15 to 20 laps.
He's hanging in there. And like you said, Benny, from where he started, he's a lot better off than he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Wallace 8.5 seconds behind leader Tony Stewart. And Stewart putting some gap on Sterling Marlin. Stewart and Marlin are locked in a pretty tight fight for what could be 2nd place in the final points. Ricky Rudd is 2nd, Stewart 3rd, Dale Jarrett 4th, and Sterling Marlin 5th. And all of those spots could change hands over these last 3 races. Sterling has been as high as the lead in the points early in the season, and we talked with him earlier in the weekend about trying to move back up after losing some spots in recent weeks.
You know, if we put together some top 5s here, 3 races left, and you know, maybe we can get back to 3rd. Tony's run awful good. You know, when he finishes, he's top 5, so it's getting tough to gain anything on him. And you know, Dale's been a little hot and cold. He'll run good one week and have a little trouble the next. But yeah, we just work hard, and this is the same car we won with in Charlotte. Got here this week and tested real good for us. So maybe we'll get a win here, and we're going to carry Atlanta if it survives here.
Here are the championship standings as we look from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And the worst part, look at the money that it pays.
And this is as they are now in this race. That's not as they came in. That's as they are now.
So Sterling Marlin, in fact, has moved up past Dale Jarrett currently as they run now.
And like you said, look at the gap from second to third to fourth.
I'm looking at it, $500,000 difference.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
A lot at stake over the final couple of races, even if Jeff Gordon locks up the championship today. Speaking of Gordon, he's in fourth. Ricky Rudd is back in 16th. 370 or better.
He needs 370. He has 371.
Wow. Bill, that could be fun come the end of the race.
Yeah, they just won't be using your calculator, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. You can notice on this run that Gordon was much better on the restart, and that probably has to come back to the fact they increased the air pressure in the tires. Because remember, he wasn't very strong on the restarts, but was stronger deeper in the runs. This is the strongest he's looked early in the race. Robbie Loomis said they were good yesterday, made 3 or 4 minor changes to get him back out there today. Could be a championship run for that 24 bunch.
5th place here, Ward Burton in the 22, Casey Atwood in the 19.
And Tony Stewart is running so fast that this battle is about 8 seconds behind the leader as Casey Atwood goes by Ward Burton and takes that spot away.
Don't forget, Ward just got 2 tires on his pit stop, so he's going to slide back a little bit. Just past 150 miles of the Pennzoil Freedom 400 in Homestead, Florida. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.